Zeno's Ravens, A Christmas Tale by Ray Scott Percival.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We've got an awesome deep dive for you all today.
Definitely a fun one.
We're going to be talking about Raven intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically this whole concept of theory of mind.
Theory of mind. Big one.
So do ravens, are they thinking about thinking?
It's a big question.
Yeah. And we're going to get into all of the really juicy research on this.
The nitty-gritty.
And a huge thank you to Henry Wiggins, actually, one of our listeners.
Yeah.
He's a science radio listener, and he donated, he helped fund some of this research.
Really amazing, his contribution there. It's helped a lot.
Yeah. So to get started, I think, for people listening who maybe aren't as familiar, can you just explain what theory of mind even means?
Yeah, so basically it's being able to understand that other individuals, other beings have their own thoughts.
Okay.
And beliefs, and these things might actually be different from your own thoughts and beliefs. So it's, putting yourself in another's mental shoes, trying to think like they think.
Yeah, and see the world how they see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how does this relate to ravens then?
Right. So there's been some fascinating research
Okay.
looking at how ravens hide their food.
Okay.
These are smart birds.
Right.
And they catch their food, they store it for later.
Yeah. Clever little guys.
But other ravens might try to steal that food. So researchers designed these experiments where they would have ravens hide food in the presence of other ravens.
Ooh.
Like they would be watching.
Sneaky.
Yeah. And what they found is that the ravens who knew they were being watched, they were more likely to go back later and re-hide their food.
Oh, wow. So they're double stashing it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're trying to outsmart a potential thief.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And one study...
Researchers find that ravens have a theory of other minds, the radio host announced. What on earth does that mean, Henry? Martha, Henry's wife, asked. You and your silly science channel. Ravens hide food depending on where and when they think other ravens may be looking, Henry explained. They're acting like our little Tom when he stole apples from Mrs. Coltart's orchard. I saw him sneaking them into his bedroom one day. He tiptoed past you when you were preparing the Sunday roast, all the time his eyes keeping track of where you were looking. Tom, did you do that? I'll pluck your eyes out, you little villain. Martha scolded Tom, half raising her hand over him. Tom's mind was somewhere else. Wow, Tom shouted. Abandoning an online poker game on his tablet, Tom bounded over to join his dad next to the radio set in his study, just off from the kitchen where Martha had just made the supper, delicious cheese on toast, Welsh rarebit. Martha joined them. Here you are, Tom, your hot milk and cheese on toast. You know the rule, 3 square meals a day plus supper. The radio hummed and crackled and its valves emitted a warm glow. That's intriguing, Dad. So, they're saying that ravens are not just conscious. They're conscious of the minds of other ravens. Does that mean they are conscious of being conscious? Self-conscious? Like us? But that's nonsense. There's nothing special about ravens. They're as common as rats and will eat anything. Sky rats. Henry lit his pipe and puffed on it. That could be correct, Tom, Henry said. However, it may mean they are conscious of other ravens being conscious of being conscious. That would make them quasi-people and therefore worthy of some respect. Tom bubbled with questions. So what do they think of us? Do they think of our minds? When I look at a raven, does it look back at me and wonder why I'm looking at it and what I'm up to? Martha interjected. Come on, Tom. Eat your milk and toast. I've put extra cheese on for you. It'll make you big and strong." "Yes," Tom said. "When I grow up, I want to be as big, strong and tall as you, Mum and Dad." "Now, that's a good and wise boy, Tom," Martha said. "Oh, Mum, you've burnt the toast." "Never mind. A bit of burnt toast. Did no one—" "Well," Henry continued, "we can only conjecture and then set up clever experiments to test our ideas about a raven's cunning. You see, these scientists were clever with their experiments. They showed that ravens are as cunning as you, Tom, when, in Mrs. Coultart's orchard, you move through it stealthily by imagining what Mrs. Coultart can see from her window and staying out of those lines of sight. And you do that without even checking whether she's at the window, in case you accidentally reveal yourself. What you're doing is imagining points of view of an imagined mind. But that's what the ravens seem to do when they are hiding food from other ravens who might be looking, even when there are no ravens to be seen. Tom was captivated, but combative. "But, Dad, can a raven imagine another raven imagining the first raven imagining what it's imagining? I mean, when I'm trying to avoid Mrs. Coultart's detection, I'm not thinking of her as like an automatic security camera, just a machine tracking and recording movement. I'm thinking of her as a crafty but self-critical mind. I mean, suppose she catches a glimpse of what she thinks might be someone stealing apples, but then thinks it might be just a bird. So, she might go to another window to check from another point of view, or she might think that's exactly what a crafty apple stealer would do, pretend to be a bird. Then she might look in greater detail at the suspicious spot to see if there are any further bird-like motions and bird songs characteristic of just the species of birds that frequent the orchard. Once a raven incidentally gave me away to Mrs. Coultart by croaking in a strange way right next to me. Damn sky rat. Maybe it wasn't incidental, Tom. Do ravens play chess or poker? In 1997, the chess program Deep Blue beat the world chess champion Garry Kasparov. So, what's a person and what's a machine? Deep Blue wasn't thinking about Kasparov's mind. It was just responding to Kasparov's moves, according to an algorithm. The game of poker, on the other hand, in which the players do think of each other's minds, has yet to be dominated by a computer. Maybe ravens are just evolved chess-playing machines that are adroit at following rules within their domain, and nothing more. Show me some ravens playing poker, or teaching me some philosophy, and I'll believe they can see inside our heads. Perhaps a better question, Tom, is how many levels of consciousness are ravens capable of? We know ravens can imitate the sounds of wolves and foxes, and even the human voice, better than parrots. They use deictic gestures, pointing with their beaks to indicate, "Look there," or holding an object in their beaks to indicate, "Take this." Deictic gestures were thought to be the distinctive preserve of the great apes and humans. Aren't these hints that ravens are more than sky rats? Some researchers suggest that ravens are smarter than children in some ways, bear grudges, and can plan and delay gratification. That's a high level of consciousness. Dad, that's exactly what I'm asking. You're not listening. What you've listed is all short-term behaviour, confined to the here and now. You don't expect me to believe that ravens reflect on their distant past, and envision their demise in the future, and suffer all the regrets and fears that scope of mind brings with it. Deep Blue might plan, but only Kasparov can bear an old grudge, plan and delay gratification over decades. Humans can bear grudges that aren't even their own, but belong to a supposed collective, a nation, a race, going back into deep history. And what distant regrets and fears could you have? Tom? Martha asked. You're only 13. That's irrelevant, Mum. The concept is valid. Now eat your milk and toast. All right. Tom, you're wrong about Deep Blue. IBM, who made the computer and hosted the tournament, threw in some human deception to unbalance Kasparov. But later, chess expertise was finally encapsulated in a surprisingly simple set of rules. That illustrates my point, Dad. It was the human chess players who IBM hired that were getting inside Kasparov's head, Tom replied. One method of getting inside the minds of ravens, Tom, that the researchers haven't tried yet, is the method of surprise. You can find out what an organism expects by discovering what surprises that organism. From an organism's expectations, one can then work out its frame on reality, its conceptual scheme. Of course, first you have to find out how the organism shows surprise. We, humans, show surprise by pupil dilation from infancy on. That's how scientists discovered how human infants think about the world. I'm surprised they haven't used surprise. Oh, you are funny, Henry, Martha said, chuckling. One thing's for sure, Tom. I'll never look at a raven the same way again. This research endorses the traditional intuition about ravens. We know a group of ravens as a conspiracy or an unkindness. Who knows what deceptions they're capable of? Have you two lost your minds? Martha looked at them with a stern and exasperated expression. Henry, you'll only give Tom a nightmare. Finish your milk and toast, Tom. It's time for bed. Tired from the philosophical talk, Tom fell asleep quickly, dreaming of the gentle roe deer he had seen yesterday morning in their serene sanctuary by the lake. In the dark winter morning, in the last hour of a frosty moon, Tom Wiggins woke up from a deep, deep sleep. On opening his eyes, he saw 6-foot-tall ravens in his bedroom towering over him. Their eyes were not black like normal ravens. They were icy turquoise, and like a Nordic sea, deep and unfathomable. Tom could not avoid gazing into them, falling into their depths. Within the turquoise depths of their eyes, Tom could perceive a crimson object spinning. A tuft of a raven's throat feathers, its hackles brushed against his cheeks. He shivered, his heart raced, and he felt cold sweat trickle down his back. The raven's obsidian black hooked beaks shone in the moon's light as slithery strings of sticky saliva dripped from them onto Tom's head. Drip, drip, drip. Instinctively, Tom tried to jump out of bed and run to his bedroom door. He couldn't move. He couldn't even blink, held captive by the enchanting eyes. He felt locked inside his head. Tom wondered, am I dreaming I woke up? Does really waking up feel any different to dreaming you woke up? How can I tell? I can feel gusts of frosty air from my bedroom window, and see a moth dancing naively around my night candle, its wings fluttering just short of the deathly flame. I can even smell the burnt toast I had just before I went to bed. It's so vivid and distinct, but how can I tell it's real? I've had vivid dreams before, so vividness is no help. When he was younger, Tom had a problem with bedwetting. He would dream he'd gone to the toilet, but that didn't help his mum with the laundry. His mum had told him to pinch himself if he were ever uncertain he was dreaming or not. Tom thought, that's it. I'll pinch myself. He pinched himself. There was no difference. The ravens, now hovering up and down over Tom's bed and pecking at his duvet, echoed Tom's thought mockingly. That's it. I'll pinch myself. I'll pinch myself. I'll pinch myself. Feathers exploded from the pinched and ripped duvet and floated on the air like the snowflakes outside Tom's window. At the sight of the feathers, the ravens became agitated into a petulant frenzy. Cold raven eyes peered at him. Tom felt naked, inside out. He felt as if his whole mind, feelings, secrets and all, were open to their gaze. Frantically trying to get a grip on what was real and what was a dream, Tom thought, did I dream I pinched myself? The ravens flew around the room, their wings wafting the duvet feathers into a dizzying vortex like a mini tornado. The vortex then transformed into a spinning crimson wheel like the object in the raven's eyes. Again, mocking Tom's thoughts, their voices echoed as if his room were an enormous cavern. Did I dream I pinch myself? Pinch myself? Pinch myself? The mocking echoes died away into the distance of the early morning sky, and the ravens landed, back next to Tom, still frozen in his bed. Mocking Tom in his terrified state, the voices of the ravens twisted into a cryptic rhyme. They wove a poem laced with dark wisdom.
We three are but the essence of bird, so our insights may seem quite absurd. But since they are but 3p a bag, we'll ensure your sagacity doesn't sag. You think you cannot move, even blink? You're no less right. Though you oddly think to move from A to B, you first need to get halfway between A and B. But before that, you've surmised, you need to be faster than the sun and be at a preceding halfway point to a preceding halfway point and so on to infinity. You can never move, let alone blink. If to think is to move, you can't think. With endless proceedings, there is hardly time for proceedings. You can never move, let alone blink. If to think is to move, you can't think. Has reality left you behind? We can hear fears echo in your mind. You may or may not be in a dream. Maybe you're dreaming within a dream within a dream. Fear not, death stealing your breath. You see, you'll never, ever meet death. Whenever you are here, he is not. Whenever he is here, you. So, good and wise boys think of nothing less than of death. Perish such thoughts. We know that good boys like you, Tom, love stories. Stories transform human fears of the unknown into entertaining playthings of the mind. Harmless little worlds. To understand something is to dominate it vicariously. It's an illusion, but a pleasant one. May we tell you a story about a little boy who woke up from a deep, deep sleep to see 6-foot-tall monsters?
Wait a minute, Tom thought. That's already happened. Tom was relieved by the thought that such repetitiveness was proof that he was dreaming. Tom spoke out in a burst of revelation. Dreams are like that. They echo over and over. That's why they seem to echo my thoughts. Those ravens are just creatures of my invention, mere figments. Chuckling to himself, he said curtly to the relics of his dream, "No thanks. Can't you tell me a nicer story?"
Fear not, death stealing your breath. You see, you'll never, ever meet death. Whenever you are here, he is not. Whenever he is here, you are not.
A single eye lay motionless on and reflected in the dressing table surface. A moth danced naively between Tom's eye and the night candle, its wings fluttering just short of the deathly flame. On the floor, fluttering in the wind in front of the open veranda doors, was the shredded front page of a 10-year-old edition of the city newspaper. The headline that day was, "Wind Farm Decimates Local Raven Population." Through the veranda doors, the single eye saw the distant silhouettes of 3 ravens against the big face of the frosty moon. Death was there, but Tom Wiggins was not. Unbeknownst to Tom, the beings who had raised him were no mere humans, but ravens, ancient, self-aware, and bound by a loyalty that transcended the stars. Their journey was not one of love, but of vengeance. The ravens had woven a careful deception, cloaking their true forms in human guise, as Henry and Martha Wiggins and their associate. Tom, innocent, unaware, had been their unwitting adopted child. Now they took flight toward the distant, blood-red glow of Antares, the binary star nestled in the heart of Scorpius. Zeno's Ravens, A Christmas Tale by Ray Scott Percival.